That's Niall Horan, and nice to meet you. It's BBC Radio Oxford, and my first guest this morning is none other than Pam Ayres. She's BBC Radio Oxford alumni. And it's National Poetry Day tomorrow, and Pam, you've written a poem especially, haven't you?
Yes, well, I've been working with Santander to warn people about investment scams that you can find online. And this is something unusual for me, I suppose, but I do believe in it. And I hate the fact that so many, particularly older people, are tricked out of their savings by these clever fraudsters.
Yeah, so can you read a little bit of it for us?
Sure, yes, I will. I'll read you a couple of verses. Have you got some money? Are you getting on like me? Are you heading for retirement to being wild and free? Are you looking for investments, somewhere canny for your cash? Be careful. There are fraudsters who will steal it in a flash. They are thieving people's savings, taking everything they've got, especially the older folk who've got a pension pot. They do not stalk the foolish. No, that isn't what they do. They target able, well-researched investors, just like you. You might, it's okay, I'll just leave it at that then, because I know we haven't got much time, but it does go on, and it warns you about websites you might discover online which offer a very, very attractive rate of interest, and it just says, be suspicious, you know, don't trust these people, and these people who ring you up, it's not a bad thing to put the phone down. It's not rude to put the phone down because they are very persuasive.
I think it's a really, really interesting use of poetry, though, to actually warn people about a scam such as this.
Well, Santander have asked me and a young poet called Sully Breaks, and we both written a poem to appeal to our own kind of audience. Well, we hope it appeals to everyone, but just to warn everyone at this time when interest rates are so low that if you find something online which has a much more attractive rate of interest, you should be very, very suspicious, and you can check it. If you like the look of something, you can check it on Scam Smart, which tells you what the risks are and if it's a flaky company.
Yeah, there's scams everywhere at the moment, you know, aren't there? But going back to your memories then, because I suppose let's credit BBC Radio Oxford with how your career started. It was sort of that and opportunity knocks. But what are your memories of walking into BBC Radio Oxford for the first time and getting a little chance?
They are some of the most exciting memories in my whole life, and that's the truth. People always say, oh, Pam Ayres, opportunity knocks, but I always say no, it was Pam Ayres, BBC Radio Oxford first, because I was working around the folk clubs like a lot of other people, like Billy Connolly, Max Boyce, Jasper Carrott, etc. I was working around the folk clubs, and one day Radio Oxford came in to record some folk music, and I was standing up declaiming, I wish I looked after my teeth, or some gem. And anyway, so they asked me to come in to Radio Oxford, and I drove in my Mini. I drove into Oxford and made my way up the steps because it was a different building then. And at the top of the steps, it said, it was an illuminated sign that said BBC Radio Oxford. You know, it was a BBC, the magic letters. And I went in and I was interviewed by a lovely guy called Andy Wright and Mike Dickin, and I think I did the Battery Hen, or one of my classics anyway. And I was petrified, but so unspeakably thrilled that this material that I had been writing for a long time had been noticed by the BBC, and they liked it. And when I had finished the poem, Andy Wright said to me the magic words, which I'll never forget. He said, if you've got any more like that, we'll have them. And those are my lovely memories of Radio Oxford. They transformed my life.
Yeah. Have you ever written a poem about, you know, that kind of experience? And as you say, I mean, being terrified, because I think anybody's first radio experience is absolutely terrifying, you know, particularly when you're surrounded by, as you describe, the illuminating BBC signs. I mean, I sit still here, 10 years on nearly, in the studio, surrounded by the illuminated BBC signs, and feel so proud and slightly terrified before every single show.
Yes, it's very daunting. there's such a historic organisation, and it's so important. And to be singled out to go and use material that you have written and broadcast it. It was so thrilling. I always wanted to be a writer, and that was the breakthrough for me. It wasn't Opportunity Knocks. It was BBC Radio Oxford. It was going in there and recording the Battery Hen and seeing the presenters fall about laughing. That was the magic thing, because I thought, oh, they're seasoned, they're really seasoned people. They're not going to laugh at me, even if they think it's funny. But they all did, and he said the magic words. If you've got any more like that, we'll have them. And in fact, he said, Andy Wright said to me, we'll give you a deadline. I said, oh, I'm terrified of deadlines. And he said, we'll give you 6 months. And that was so kind, because 6 months isn't scary. You can write something in 6 months.
Pam, decades.
They were just so kind.
Decades later, we're having this conversation, and I'm calling you a national treasure, because you are. Thank you so much for being my first guest this morning. It really is.
It's a pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Pam Ayres, everybody.